Hare Krishna everyone. Welcome you all on our 90 episode book reading. Today we'll be reading 83 and 84. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschati Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Chapter 83. Draupadi meets the queens of Kṛṣṇa. Lord Sri Kṛṣṇa returned from his meeting with the gopis and asked King Yudhishthira and his other relatives whether they were well. They replied, "My lord, anyone who has just once imbibed through his ears the honey of your pastimes can never know misfortune." That's a great learning. Very first thing replied by the Sri Maharaj and everyone. This says, if we hear the pastimes of Lord Kṛṣṇa by our ears, who are actually nectarian, then no one will experience any misfortune. So we should be always hearing the pastimes of Lord Kṛṣṇa. Then Draupadi inquired from Lord Kṛṣṇa's wives how the Lord had come to marry them. Queen Rukmini spoke first. Many kings headed by Jarasandha were intent on giving me in marriage to Sisupal. Thus at my wedding they all stood and bows in hand, ready to support Sisupal against any opponents. But Sri Kṛṣṇa came and forcibly took me away as a lion takes his prey from amidst goats and sheep. Then Queen Satyabhama said, when my uncle Prasena was killed, my father Satrajit falsely accused Lord Kṛṣṇa of murder. To clear his name, Kṛṣṇa defeated Jambavan, recovered the Samantaka jewel, and returned it to Satrajit. Repentant, my father presented the Lord with both the jewel and myself. Then Queen Jamavati said, when Sri Kṛṣṇa entered my father's cave in search of the Samantaka jewel, at first my father Jambavan did not understand who he was. So my father fought with him for 27 days and nights. And finally Jambavan understood that Kṛṣṇa was none other than Lord Ramachandra, his worshipable Lord. Thus he gave Kṛṣṇa the Samantaka jewel along with me. Queen Kalindi said, To obtain Kṛṣṇa as my husband, I performed severe austerities. Then one day Lord Kṛṣṇa came to me in the company of Arjuna, and at that time the Lord agreed to marry me. Queen Mitravinda said, Sri Kṛṣṇa came to my Swayamvara ceremony where he defeated all the opposing kings and took me away to his city of Dwarika. Queen Satya said, my father stipulated that to win my hand, a prospective suitor would have to subdue and tie up 7 powerful bulls. Accepting this challenge, Lord Kṛṣṇa playfully subdued them, defeated all his rival suitors, and married me. Queen Bhadra said, my father invited his nephew Kṛṣṇa, to whom I had already given my heart, and offered me to him as his bride. The dowry was an entire military division and routine of my female companions. Queen Lakshmana said to Draupadi, at my Swayamvara as at yours, a fish target was fastened near the ceiling. But in my case, the fish was concealed on all sides, and only in reflection it could be seen in a pot of water below. Several kings tried to hit the fish with arrow but failed. Arjuna then made his attempt. He concentrated on the reflection of the fish in the water and took careful aim, but when he released his arrow, it only gauged the target. Then Sri Kṛṣṇa fixed his arrows on the bow and shot it straight through the target, knocking it to the ground. I picked the victory necklace on Sri Kṛṣṇa's neck, but the kings who had failed raised a violent protest. Lord Kṛṣṇa valiantly fought them, cutting off the heads, arms, and legs of many, sending the rest fleeing for their lives. Then the Lord took me to Dwarika for our lavish wedding. Rohini Devi, repenting all other queens, explained that they were the daughters of the king defeated by Bhaumasura. The demon held them captive, but when Lord Krishna killed, he had released them and married them all. So this is all the past, and actually we had already seen or heard earlier in chapters, and now all the queens they are describing this to in Hastinapur to everyone. And chapter 84 says the sages' teachings at Kurukṣetra. On the occasion of a solar eclipse at Kurukṣetra, exalted ladies like Kunti, Draupadi, Subhadra got the chance to associate with Lord Krishna's queen. Seeing how much the Lord concerns loved their husband, the ladies were struck with wonder. As the women talked among themselves and the men did likewise, great sages headed by Narada and Vyasadeva arrived there, desiring to see Lord Krishna. The various kings and other leading personalities who were sitting at their leisure, including the Pandavas, Krishna and Balram, stood up as soon as they saw the sages. The leaders all bowed down to the great souls, inquired about their well-being, and worshipped them by offering them sitting places, water, and so on. Lord Krishna then said, "Now our lives are successful, for we have obtained the goal of life, the audience of great sages and yoga masters, which even demigods only rarely obtain, the water at a holy place of pilgrimage and the deity forms of the god can purify one only after a long time. But silent sages purify just by being seen. Those who identify themselves with their bodies and neglect to own transcendental sages like you are no better than asses." So here it has been described how a silent person or the sages should be given respect. And it is being said the holy water of a pilgrimage and the deity form of God can purify one only after a long time. However, the saintly sages they purify just by seeing. And it being said in the Shukdev Goswami also it is described that he used to visit all the sages they used to visit the family or the householders to beg for their to beg, and it's been said that they were actually there to purify the householder, not to beg. Begging is the different thing, but they are there when they come, they actually purify the whole family or whole household family. So that's why it's the duty of household family to give charity and respect the saintly persons. And even in earlier Canto, it's being said that Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani, where the holy places are actually they are holy because of the sages, because their austerity done by the sages make the holy places more holy. So after hearing Lord Krishna speak these words in the mood of a mere mortal, the sages remained silent for some time, bewildered. Then they said, "How amazing our Lord is! He covers his true identity with human-like activities and pretends to be the subject to superior control. Surely he has spoken in this way only to enlighten the general populace. Such behavior of his is indeed inconceivable." The sages continue to glorify the Lord as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, and the friend and worshipper of all the Brahmanas. After the sages had praised him, Lord Krishna offered them his obeisances, and they begged his permission to return to their hermitage. But just then Vasudeva came forward, bowed to the sages, and asked, "What activities can one perform to be freed from the bondage of fruitive work?" The sages replied, "By worshipping the Supreme Lord Hari through the performance of Vedic sacrifices, you will become free from the bondage of fruitive works." Then it's one more way to get free from the bondage of fruitive work, that is by worshipping Supreme Lord Hari. So Vasudeva then requested the sages to act as his priests, and he arranged for the Vedic sacrifices to be performed and super excellent paraphernalia. Afterward, Vasudeva presented the priest with valuable gifts of cows and jewelries, and also with marriageable Brahmanas girls. He then performed the rituals bathing marking the end of the sacrifice, and fed everyone, even the village dogs as well. Next, he gave ample gifts to his relatives, the various kings and others, who all took Sri Krishna leave and returned to their home. Unable to depart because of his intense affection of his relatives, Nanda Maharaj remained at Kurukṣetra for 3 months. Served with reverence by the Yadavas, on one occasion Vasudeva began to describe the deep friendship Nanda had shown him. Shedding tears openly, at the end of 3 months, Nanda left for Mathura with the fond farewell of all the Yadavas. When the Yadavas finally saw that rainy season was about to begin, they returned to Dwarika, where they related all that had happened at Kurukṣetra to the residents of their capital. So this is how we end episode 84. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are just 6 more episodes left and 3 days for Janmashtami 2020. Hare Krishna.